Zarvex adjusted the pressure of his crystalline carapace, the subtle hum of the slave market a familiar vibration against his geologically aware senses. He was a geode, a being of patience, his kind measuring lifetimes in eons, not years. The market on Xylos Prime was a chaotic symphony of short-lived creatures, their frantic energy a stark contrast to the slow, deliberate pace of his own existence. He was here to acquire new labor for the Tectonic Guild's mining operations, a routine transaction in a universe that had, for the most part, settled into a predictable rhythm of silicon and stone. Then he saw them. A group of humans, huddled together in a pen, their skin a pale, soft mockery of the world's iron-rich dust. They were a myth, a ghost story told to young geodes to illustrate the folly of carbon-based life. Yet here they were, not as slaves, but as assets. The auctioneer, a skittish insectoid named Crix, was practically vibrating with excitement as he presented the lot. And now, a true rarity. A lost colony of Terrans, untouched by the Great Silence. Untamed, unbroken, the humans didn't flinch. They stood tall, their eyes scanning the crowd not with fear, but with a chilling, analytical curiosity. One of them, a broad-shouldered male with a scar across his face, met Zarvex's gaze and gave a slow, deliberate nod. It wasn't a gesture of submission. It was an invitation. Zarvex found himself drawn into the bidding, a decision his rational mind screamed against. These were animals, creatures of fleeting passion and limited intellect. Yet, the male human's steady gaze haunted him. The bidding was fierce, a chaotic scramble from the more impulsive species in the crowd. Crix's chittering grew more frantic with each increment. Zarvex, calculating the long-term value of their potential labor, placed a final, crushing bid that silenced the room. As the geode guards herded the humans toward him, the scarred human stepped forward. He didn't bow. He didn't plead. He simply extended a calloused hand. "I'm Marcus," he said, his voice a low rumble that seemed to resonate with the planet's core. "We need a ship." Zarvex's internal sensors flared with confusion. "You are property. You will work in the mines." Marcus's face broke into a grin that was both terrifying and infectious. "We're not property. We're partners. You get us off this rock, and we'll win you a war." The sheer audacity of the statement left Zarvex momentarily speechless. A partnership? With humans? It was the most illogical proposition he had ever encountered. And yet, as he looked into Marcus's unblinking eyes, he felt the first tremor of something he hadn't felt in a millennium: curiosity. The Geode Council was less than amused. When Zarvex presented his partners to the Tectonic Guild's ruling elders, their crystalline faces were masks of disdain. "You have brought vermin into our sanctum," one elder hissed, her voice like grinding tectonic plates. "They are a liability, a contagion of irrationality." Marcus stood before them, flanked by his fellow humans, and spoke not as a supplicant, but as an equal. "The silicates have been picking at the edges of the galactic core for a century," he declared, his voice carrying an unearned authority. "They believe you are slow. They believe you are predictable. They are wrong." He laid out a strategy, a plan of breathtaking complexity that involved baiting the silicate fleet into a nebula where their long-range sensors would be useless. It was a fool's gambit, relying on chaos and unpredictability. The elders scoffed. "Our fleets are built for siege, not for your games." Marcus simply smiled. "Then let us show you how to play." The turning point came when a junior geode, fascinated by the human's fervor, leaked a sensor log confirming Marcus's claims. The silicate fleet was indeed preparing a major offensive. The council was divided, but Zarvex, swayed by the impossible certainty in Marcus's eyes, cast the deciding vote. They would let the humans try their insane plan. The battle for the Azure Nebula was a symphony of controlled madness. The geode fleet moved with their characteristic, ponderous precision, forming a solid wall of interlocking diamond-shaped cruisers. The silicate fleet, expecting such a defense, began their assault with methodical, grinding torpedoes designed to shear through armor. Then the humans arrived, not in a single fleet, but in 1,000 scattered, jury-rigged vessels salvaged from the slave market scrapyards. They didn't use formation. They didn't use tactics. They charged. It was a wave of screaming, defiant metal, a chaotic maelstrom of ramming ships, suicide bombers, and fighters that swarmed the silicate cruisers like a plague of locusts. The silicates, creatures of pure logic, were paralyzed. Their predictive algorithms couldn't fathom such wasteful, self-sacrificing behavior. A silicate flagship, its crystalline hull shimmering with power, was suddenly engulfed by a dozen human ships that detonated their cores in a blinding flash of light. The shockwave crippled the vessel's command structure. The geodes watched in stunned silence as the humans' irrational bravery tore apart the enemy's meticulously planned assault. It wasn't a victory of technology or strategy. It was a victory of spirit. As the last silicate ship fled in disarray, Marcus's voice crackled over the calm, filled with a quiet triumph. "Told you we could win." Zarvex looked at the human, then at the shattered remains of the enemy fleet, and understood. The universe had not been made for slow, patient beings. It was a place for those who dared to be gloriously, irrationally alive.